hold a hand and don't believe a lie. You understand me. Walk her down the valley, pack a piece of heaven for the bottoms of her.
Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Taryn J, and this is Life as Taryn J. So as you can see down below at the title, you already know I'm about to give you step-by-step order to file for a divorce by yourself. Before I do that, I do want to give a few disclaimers. First disclaimer, I am not a lawyer, okay? I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a paralegal, I am none of that. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a paralegal, I'm none of that. I only know these things because I had to do my own divorce. I was married for a very limited amount of time, and if it wasn't for this information, I would unfortunately probably still be married to that individual. So please, please, please do not write me asking, can I help you? Because I cannot. This is the information I can give you, and this is the information I am giving you, because divorces are not all one size fit all. If you need someone who has, you know, legal experience, I highly recommend finding a divorce lawyer. So that's our first disclaimer. Our second disclaimer, I do not believe just getting a divorce just because, you know. I feel like marriage is from God. Marriage is something He ordained. So yeah, I am not an advocate for divorce. Like, oh wow, you're unhappy, leave. No, were all the options weighed out? Was everything taken into consideration? Like, me personally, there was a lot of infidelity, a lot of emotional abuse, you know, psychological abuse. You want to roll down a list of abuses, that's what we were dealing with, manipulation and all types of things. So that was not an environment I was going to raise my daughter in, or a person I wanted to, you know, cohabitate in the same house with. Therefore, divorce was the only option. Now that we went through our disclaimers, let's go ahead and get into the video. Again, I am only speaking from my experience on, you know, certain links that you guys may need, resources. I cannot help you personally. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a paralegal. So I have my notebook, I have my laptop, so if you see me looking down at any point, it's just to reference something, so I don't give you the wrong information and I don't forget. But again, I filed my divorce in Texas, so I am going to leave the link for the, what is it called, Texas State Law Library. I'm going to leave that link in the description box, as well as how to file with the state of Texas in the description box, because that is where I filed mine. So let's get into it. So step number one, find a law library. As far as I'm aware of, every place, every downtown, wherever your courthouse is, has a law library. I'm not sure about smaller towns, but for the most part, you can either go downtown to the courthouse and they'll point you in the right direction, or you can simply do a Google search and get the address to go there. Or they should already actually have a website at this point in time, 2023, so you should be able to go to the website for your state. So that is the first step. Again, the very first step would have been like, you know, figuring out if this can work and, you know, exhausting all your, you know, resources that way. But here we go. So step number two, divorce forms. Everybody's situation is completely different. So they have these packets of information that are already made up either via online or in the law library within itself. So for example, if you're going into the actual building, they might have like these pamphlets that are put together, and it might say pamphlet B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, however they decide to order it. And in those pamphlets, it's very specific. So let's say you get pamphlet C, and pamphlet C is a divorce, and you have no kids with the person, and you have no property with the person. So that would be the pamphlet you get with all the proper documents that you need to fill out. Or let's say you do have kids with the person, and there's already a custody order already involved. Then you would have a separate pamphlet. So they're broken down in that way so you get the right pamphlet to fill out the right information. Step number 2 is getting the proper paperwork that is specific to your situation with this individual. I do want to add a disclaimer for the paperwork. If you are pregnant, at least in the state of Texas, if you are pregnant, you cannot get a divorce. You can't get a divorce. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, but that's just the way it's set up. They're gonna require that you have the baby first, and then you can file whatever paperwork. So you would have to wait till the child gets here. Again, I want to reiterate, I am not a lawyer. I'm just giving you the process and steps that I used in order to get my divorce by myself and for free. Before I even filed or, you know, was heavily considering the divorce, I did put my ex on child support for our daughter. So we already had a custody agreement in place. We already had like a financial agreement in place. These things were in place because we were living separately, even though we were still legally married. We were living in 2 separate homes, and actually 2 separate cities at this point. So I did file for child support before I filed for the divorce. Once you have all your paperwork together, you've gone to the law library, you've gotten the right pamphlet you need for your specific situation, because this is very specific. No divorce is like completely the same. Now we'll discuss the free part, how to file the paperwork for free. So the way that works is they have a low income option. The low income option, of course, you would have to prove that you don't make a certain amount of money, and once you do that, you would be classified like, you know, low income, and the $500 fee would be waived for you. So you would not have to pay that $500 fee in order to submit, you know, file the divorce paperwork. Moving on to step number 4. So technically step number 3 was the filing. Step number 4 is going to be having that individual served. It's so important to have the person served. You can't just file for a divorce and they're not aware of it. You can't do that. You can't just wake up one day and file for divorce and be divorced from a person and they not know that you're divorced from them. It's not possible. So you do have to have them served, either like certified mail. If that doesn't work, I believe that you can do it in person. The only thing about doing it in person, depending on what you have going on, if there's like a domestic violence case already or a protective order already, you know, in the mix, I'm gonna say it is a lot easier to have a constable or a sheriff serve them. So having a sheriff or a constable serve them would actually mean that they definitely got it. And now it goes with like certified mail. They definitely got it. They can't say, oh, it got lost in the mail, I never received it, or this, that, and the third. And I was actually reading on the website, like I said, for the state of Texas, I will leave it down in the description box, so please read through it. But for the serving aspect of it, it did say something about, I think now it's going to be legal to serve them through social media. Like, you know, if you inbox them and, you know, let them know that they're being served. More details will be on the website. Feel free to go onto the website and figure out all the details on that. But yes, having them serve is super, super important, because I don't know about any of y'all, but at least for me specifically, I had the type of ex who got served and did not respond, because they have a certain amount of time that they get to respond back. They can either, you know, say, no, we're not getting divorced, so therefore I will not allow this, what is it, like, contested divorce, something like that. They can either do that, or, you know, if y'all have property together and they don't agree to the terms, then, you know, they can basically push back on the divorce. But the kind of ex I had, I already knew he wasn't going to sign it, and he wasn't going to push back. He was going to act like it was just another piece of mail. That's just the type of person he was at the time. So therefore, and mind you, you only have a certain amount of time to respond. So I want to say, in the state of Texas, if y'all both are in the state of Texas, you get 60 days to respond. If one person is in the state of Texas and another person is in a different state, then there's a 6-month time frame to respond. Again, do your research. I'm not completely sure, but I want to say that's around the time. For my particular case, we did have a protective order in place, so that only gave him 21 days. I think he either had 21 days or 21 days or 30 days to respond to being served, because I had him served by a constable, so that he got the mail, but, you know, he didn't sign it, he didn't send it back, none of that. Therefore, the divorce was still going through, because he got the paperwork. But just because you don't say anything does not mean the divorce will not go through. Once the person is served, you know, that's when the time clock starts to go before you can set a hearing. Now, like I said, everybody's kind of different depending on what's going on. I had a protective order. Not everybody is going to have a protective order. There's dates that you can be seen, or that, so let's say the person, how do I say this? Let's say the person is not, you know, hasn't signed it or anything, then most likely they'll give you a date that you can just appear in court, and if the person shows up, they show up. If they don't, they don't, kind of thing, and then the divorce is granted. And so that's one example. Say they do either sign the paperwork or they have pushback on the paperwork, then you can go online or, you know, back to the courthouse and schedule a date for the hearing. Those are going to be your basic steps in order to file a divorce for free. Like I said, it's not one size fits all. Everybody has different circumstances. Everybody has different things going on. So definitely continue to do your research, figure out what's going on, what the laws are in your state, and push comes to shove, get a lawyer. Please do not email me, because I cannot help you. Get a lawyer. I really hope this helps somebody. I want you guys to stay blessed, stay encouraged, stay in the word, and absolutely like this video, and make sure you are subscribed.